What's good, people? We back at it. Another episode of What's the Word with LJ Mental Podcast. As always, I'm your host with the most LJ. Bring you another episode, another week, end of January 2021. And yeah, we're moving along in this world. Uh, we got a new president in office. Uh, they doing a trial pretty soon for Trump getting impeached. Um, but I don't want to talk about that too much. I don't want to get too political this episode. I don't really want to talk about that. Uh, so, the word of the week this week is legacy. And the reason why is we focus on a couple figures this week that we're going to talk about. And I think I used this word before because I feel like I can describe a few people in particular. I used this when I talked about Chadwick Boseman. I thought it was very appropriate. And I think it's very appropriate right now. I'm about to get into. This person is a legend. He passed away not too long ago. Became a legend in the city, not just the city of angels, but not just through the U.S., but around the world. Very inspirational. He has a certain mentality that I think people have. Yeah, I think not just because he passed away, but a lot of people are trying to instill him, trying to follow in the footsteps and do things in that way, follow that mentality. And very big time figure. Meant a lot to a lot of people. He led by example with how he played on the basketball court. I'm talking about Kobe Bryant, y'all. Yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of Kobe's death. It's crazy. Just like I couldn't believe when Nipsey Hussle passed away. I couldn't believe that Kobe Bryant passed away. I first heard about it. I remember my mom's text me. She's like, "You heard about Kobe?" I'm like, "Kobe? Like, huh? Like, what happened to Kobe?" So I immediately go to Google and I see Kobe Bryant plane crash. I'm like, hold up. And dig a little deeper. Saw an article that said Kobe Bryant dies in plane crash. And I'm thinking it's a hoax. I didn't think this shit was real. So I start digging a little deeper. And I guess gradually more information started coming out. So I was in disarray. I didn't believe it for like a while. Like, it took a while for me to actually start believing it. Then I start hearing news reports and so I'm like, oh damn, this shit is not a joke. Like, it's not somebody fake. Because sometimes they do that cruel type ridiculous shit where a celebrity dies or something and it's not true. But I thought there was something like that. I was in shock. I couldn't believe this was actually true. Yeah, it's still shocking now that Kobe Bryant passed away a year ago. Yeah, it's crazy. Kobe Bryant was my all-time favorite player growing up. He was a hero to a lot of people, myself included, growing up. With his play on the basketball court, he dominated a lot of years. Brought 5 championships to Los Angeles. He led by example in a lot of ways, and he had a few down years when Shaq left the team, and but recovered and got a couple more championships as the number 1 guy, Finals MVP, got a regular season MVP, 81 points in a game, big time playoff moments, got that killer instinct, the black Mamba mentality, as I was referring to earlier. I think a lot of people trying to get that instilled in them. And he was just great and fun to watch too. Like, Kobe was just all-time great, and he he has some of those explosive plays. I know some people say he was finesse, but he could be real dominant too. Like as far as like he could dunk on I think just about anybody in his prime. Like Kobe was was a bad dude. Like he was very dominant, and I know he got his killer instinct, and a lot of his play he got from Michael Jordan because he got a lot of his moves. I think Kobe was inspired by Jordan, being kind of like I guess a big brother to Kobe. But and I acknowledge that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. Still, some people start to say LeBron now, but I still think it's Jordan. Um, and Kobe is my all-time favorite player. Even though I acknowledge Jordan is the GOAT, but Kobe is my favorite all time. I've always said that, and still is to this day my all-time favorite player. I think a generation maybe a little older than me probably. I know a few cats that's a little older. And Jordan was their all-time favorite player. Um, Michael Jordan won his sixth title in 1998, so I was still young, and I was alive for all of his championships. But I was a little nigga. I wasn't that old like yet. I was a little nigga. So in 1998, when he won his title, I was 9 years old, about to be 10 in that October that year. So I think the 90s is kind of my era. Like I feel like the 90s is a big time era. It's really the golden years in a lot of different areas. I think, yeah, the 90s, I think had it basically all. Except now we got the technology is taking over, but that's a whole nother story. But as far as sports, Kobe was still a young dude by then. But as I got into my late teen years and later when I started really, really getting into basketball, because football is my favorite sport, but I love basketball too. And this dude named Kobe Bryant, and like my uncles and even my pops when I would go visit him, he was a big time Lakers fan. And I used to watch the Lakers with him, and Kobe, that was my guy. Of course, like Kobe, he was that dude, man. Kobe was definitely a dominant force, and at one point early on, people started to say maybe Kobe will be the GOAT. There's so many times where you can look at that, whether it's the 81 points in a game, there's the big time playoff series against in the conference finals against the Kings, or the finals against Boston, against the conference. Like there's so many playoff moments where you can look at when Kobe Jordan came back and started talking shit to Kobe when he played for the Wizards, and he basically said the Lakers played the Wizards. I think might have been Jordan's last time playing Kobe, I think. And then Kobe goes out there, puts on the show. Kobe puts up 55 on Jordan. Basically said, take that to retirement with you. Like, this is my show now. And Jordan, Kobe just dominated the game. And he put a 55 on him. And it was clear that Kobe was the man. Obviously, he had Shaq with him at that time still. And people wondering, like, oh, can Kobe do it without Shaq? And it's easy to say that now, that Kobe, like, yeah, I knew Kobe was gonna be great without Shaq. I mean, I was one of the believers, honestly, like that Kobe was gonna be great regardless. He had a few down years with the Lakers, but ended up he was always great, and ended up winning some championships after he left. Finals MVP. Was clearly the best player on that team. Best player in the league, I think, for the majority of those times. I thought he was better than Tim Duncan. But Kobe, yeah, it's still that Mamba mentality inspired a lot of people to work harder. Not just I think in basketball, but I think you can implement that in any sport, any profession. That Mamba mentality and just to not give up, work harder than everybody else in the room, and be great. Because you can be greatness ain't something that can be taught. It's the ethic. I mean, talent is one thing, which Kobe actually obviously had a lot of talent, but he outworked everybody, and he wanted to prove that he was the best and to be dominant. And you can instill that mentality, I think, in really any profession. Like I said, like whatever you do, I think is real inspirational, and it's clear that he touched a lot of people and inspired them with that Mamba mentality. It's clear that's what I think Kobe's legacy is. Uh, and, work hard and everything. You can clearly see that after Kobe retired, he was going to have an entire second career. Like he won an Oscar um, for each one of his short films. And a lot of the animation books he's doing, children, plus obviously he was helping prepare his daughter uh, that unfortunately passed away as well to go get to college and then get to the NBA or WNBA. I'm sorry, get to the WNBA, and it's tragic because you could tell that Kobe, even after not being in the NBA anymore, that he was clearly ready to transition into his next career, his next phase of his life, and it seemed like he was doing so pretty well. Um, it's it's still unbelievable that Kobe's gone. It's crazy. Kobe is great, always all-time great, and all those people that lost their lives, the 9 people lost their lives in that tragic helicopter crash. And it's crazy because Kobe was known for taking choppers to games to avoid traffic, and especially if you got places you need to be quicker and you got the funds to do so, you're gonna take a chopper, which I'm sure saved a lot of time. But yeah, it's crazy. Real foggy day that day. Guess they could really barely see in the sky that day. It's just real tragic and it's sad. And all of those people's families that lost their lives, they're not talked about as much as Kobe because they're not anytime that they're important to those. And it's tragic to all of those people that lost their lives. It's really sad. I can't even imagine what Kobe's life and all of those people's families that lost a loved one are going through. But to the world, what Kobe meant to people is big time. He was a hero. He inspired a lot of people. Definitely inspired me, and I want to instill that Mamba mentality in what I'm doing to go harder. And what I'm doing, things is starting to look up. I think we all gotta go through something to get to our destinations. But I believe in that Mamba mentality to keep the grind on and be the best at what you're doing. I definitely want to work on being the best at whatever I'm doing, not just podcasting, but with my business I got going on. I want to instill that Mamba mentality throughout my business to keep going harder. That's what we're gonna do. So yeah, I think that legacy, that's what Kobe's legacy is. Big time lost for the world, and I think we was gonna see a lot more from Kobe. We was gonna see a lot more, even though he's not in the NBA anymore. We was gonna see a lot more from him, and it's too bad we won't get to see that, but it is what it is. But this isn't just a day of sadness. This is just to remember how great he was, a celebration of who Kobe Bryant was. A year and a day later, that Kobe was all-time great and fully embraced the Mamba mentality. So rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. His daughter, all those people that lost their lives is really sad. So keeping on the topic of legacy, not the don't want to talk too much about keeping it tragic or sad, but I want to talk about Larry King also. And I think this word is appropriate as well, legacy for Larry King. Because uh, Larry King also lost his life this past week. Um, but you could say at least he lived a full life. I'm not sure. They mentioned COVID. I'm not sure if that was the cause of his death. I think he had some underlying health issues as well, from what I read. I'm not sure if that COVID was the cause, but I heard he did have some other health issues as well. But Larry King, icon in the radio business, television business, super iconic figure. And I think what stands out about Larry King the most, I was really thinking about this too, as I was listening to an interview he did. And he said that the very first job he got in radio, many years ago, he said that the very first day he was a nervous wreck, because that's what he always wanted to do, and he didn't want to screw it up. And as soon as that it was time to hit the stage, basically, figuratively speaking, he's like, oh, I don't know what to say. And then I guess he said the owner of the station was in there, the manager, whatever, said this is a communications business, damn it, communicate. And the most important thing is he was just off. He said, hey, and he's just being honest when he went on air. This is my first day. I'm scared to death, and this is what I always wanted. And that really resonated with me. I'm like, and even though I always believed in being real, being authentic, who you are, and that's what he did. You can't go wrong with, don't try and be something you're not. I think that's what I got from that. Just be you, be yourself, and do your thing. If it's gonna work, it's gonna work. If not, it don't. But clearly it worked for Larry King. I mean, many years of being in radio, television, he entered the many interviews, legendary interviews he's done with, obviously he talks about Jackie Robinson being at his very first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers when they were still in Brooklyn, New York, before they went to Los Angeles. And now going to his game and interviewing him, interviewing Muhammad Ali, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, so many legendary people he's interviewed. And throughout the years, even you could tell he just was, I feel like he was really for everybody. Like he wasn't one, even during those times during when racism was at the forefront, really, and it was very segregated during those times when Jackie Robinson was playing. He said, like, oh, we loved him in Brooklyn. Like, wasn't one of those people that tried to say, oh, black person doesn't belong in this sport. Like, he wasn't one of the people. And this is wild. And you can't, I think the main thing about Larry King's legacy that resonates with me is, just be yourself, be real. Don't try and be some shit you ain't. Because at the end of the day, you're going to get exposed. Like, people going to eventually see you full of shit, and that ain't you. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think that's the main thing that stick out to me is be yourself in whatever you're trying to do. That's all you can do, because can't nobody be you but you. You might have some similarities to somebody, because people like to compare, like, oh, we remind you of this person, that person, but which is kind of cool, and I guess it's fun to people, but at the end of the day, it's kind of whack, because you can only be you. And the only thing you can do is be authentic and don't try and be something you're not. And be honest. At the end of the day, that's what really stuck out to me. And I said that the first episode of my podcast. This is my first time ever doing a podcast, and I felt like it was a different realm for me, and not sure if I was sounding nervous to people, but I was my first day, and I think it's important to just fully embrace. Don't half-ass it. Fully embrace who the hell you are. Don't give a fuck what nobody think. If they don't like you, they ain't for you. Now critiquing, that's a whole different other thing. I think if you can add an honest critique to help somebody improve, that's something different. But if you just totally hating on somebody, then they not for you. You can only be you, and if they don't accept it, fuck 'em. That's how I look at it. Somebody don't accept me for me, fuck you. But that's the whole point. Just to be yourself. And rest in peace to Larry King. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. And unfortunately, death is a part of life, and they've transitioned to their next phase on how whatever that is, whatever that look like. But yeah, that's the important thing. So I got one more thing I want to talk about that's on my chest. It's been on my mind this whole week. It's gonna take me a while to get over it. So I want to talk about football real quick before I get up out of here. So as people in the world know, the Super Bowl is set. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. That's gonna happen in February. Should be a good game, a good Super Bowl. But I got a bone to pick. It's crazy. In particular, I want to focus on the NFC Championship, right? I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. I've been a diehard Green Bay Packers fan since I was 7 years old. Since I knew really what football was. Been my favorite sport. I grew up watching Brett Favre. I like Reggie White. But yeah, I love the Green Bay Packers. But I want to focus on the NFC Championship. It's very disappointing because I had no doubt in my mind before Sunday that Green Bay was going to the Super Bowl. There was no doubt in my mind. I said Green Bay is finally going back to the Super Bowl. Didn't happen. It's gonna take a while for me to get over this damn game. It's a fucking shame what happened in this game. If you know anything about football and you've been paying attention to the season, sorry for those that haven't. But I'm gonna talk about this. Green Bay played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in October, week 6 of the regular season. Blew them out. Tampa Bay blew them out. It was bad. It was ugly. And some people, if you look at the track record of the Packers and how Aaron Rodgers has gone throughout his career, you could say, okay, you look at this previous season, lost to San Francisco pretty badly in the regular season, played them again in the NFC Championship game right before the Super Bowl, got blown out again. So some people thinking probably, hey, this probably gonna happen again. Didn't get blown out last weekend, but we did lose, unfortunately. And I've been listening a lot of people talking about the last play, that the last drive the Packers had, the 8-yard line, that Green Bay should have, that Aaron Rodgers should have ran the ball, which I definitely agree. He should have ran the ball, and a lot of people were shocked that he didn't go for it on 4th down. You're going to give Tom Brady back the ball when all he needs is a first down. They really in the game. You going to do that to the greatest quarterback of all time, really? So yeah, I think a lot of people were shocked by that. Myself included. Then you got, the controversial pass interference call, which wasn't that controversial to me. I don't like when people bitch and moan about refs and all that. That's corny to me. Like, this is, at the end of the day, is one play. Like, What happened to previous fucking 99 plays? Like, you can't just put a game on one play unless obviously it's tied or some shit. There are exceptions to the rule. Like, I really believe there are exceptions, but I mean, I can't put this loss on that particular play, that pass interference call on Kevin King, because Kevin King was getting abused really that entire game. It was bad. Um, Jair Alexander on that, our other cornerback, the Packers, had a great game. Um, Brady, if you notice, Brady wasn't throwing to his side a whole lot, and when he did, you see what he got picked off a couple times. Uh, but I be perfectly honest. A lot of people haven't been saying this. A lot of people have been putting the blame on Matt LaFleur, um, saying, "Oh, he should have went for it on fourth down." I agree, he should have went for it on fourth down. I was shocked that he didn't. But at the end of the day, I think who deserves the most blame is Aaron Rodgers. Um, we got to be real about this. I love Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. I still think he's a great quarterback. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to be the MVP this year. But you can't keep coming up short in these big playoff moments. You just can't keep doing it. That has been really bothering me being a Packers fan. And this is going to take me a long time to get over it. Maybe if we win the Super Bowl next year, um, I'll get over it. It's gonna take me a long time. I still haven't recovered yet from the Seahawks loss. That one hurt the most. 2014 NFC Championship, but this one is right up there. This is a very close second. Um, Last year, San Francisco obviously hurt. They all hurt, but these two here, this year, and then the 2014 against Seattle. Yeah, those hurt the most because I think we both really had opportunities to win this game. We should have won both games. We had every opportunity to win, and Aaron is still great, but except when it comes to these big playoff moments, I'm still scratching my head, literally, on how a quarterback. Cause I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback who's this talented, this great. He's had great moments and clutch moments. But when it comes to big time playoff moments, he just doesn't show up. I just don't get. I don't get it. To be that great, Aaron Rodgers is absolutely great. And to not show up in the biggest moments, Tom Brady threw 3 second half interceptions. And you get 6 points out of that. Are you fucking kidding me? You get 6 points. Like, are you serious? You get 6 points out of those drives. You had every opportunity to get back in this game and win it. And the last 2 interceptions, 3 and out twice. That's on Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. That's on. I can't blame LaFleur because Aaron Rodgers and those guys are the ones on the field. You know the pass rush is coming. They've been getting to you all day. Do something to get the ball out quick, man. You know the pass rush is coming. You dealt with it earlier in the season. If you that dude, if you the guy, like I've been saying is the best, better than Patrick Mahomes, you got to get the shit done. And he came up short. He just did. We got to be real about it. Like, I'm being real. I'm a Packer fan, and I'm being real about it. Like, it's tragic. It's sad. And it's going to take a long ass time for me to get over this shit. I'm still pissed off about it right now. It is what it is. Congrats to the Bucks. It is what it is, but I think Aaron Rodgers deserves the most blame. He's still great. He'll be great next season. And it should be a good Super Bowl, but I definitely believe Green Bay should have won that game. But that's enough of my rant. So yeah, we about to get out of here, and just remember legacy. I believe everybody should still have the Mamba mentality, and whatever you're doing, whatever your profession is, if you work with somebody, if you got your own business, I think put that work ethic in, and keep it grinding, keep it pushing. That's what we gonna do. So this has been another episode of What's the Word, LJ Mentor. We about to get up out of here. I'm out.